I was always told that people like me didn't play video games, especially being a Black woman. Even now, I hear that, and it's ridiculous. It's hard because I love video games. I just wish they loved me back in the same way. Gaming is for everyone, and it's not a catchphrase. It's important giving visibility and a voice to people who think they don't belong. I'm at One Shot Studio, where we normally film Rivals of Waterdeep. This was pre-COVID, but you know, now that COVID's a thing, we are mostly remote. Rivals of Waterdeep is an actual play D&D show. We started in June 2018.
Hey, everybody. This is Rivals of Waterdeep. Hi.
Hello.
Hey, welcome to season 6 of our Dungeons & Dragons show.
D&D stands for Dungeons and Dragons. It is a high fantasy role-playing game where you can be anything you like. You could be dragonborn, you could be human. Tabletops are role-playing games played usually in person, but with the current state of the world, online. And a tabletop role-playing game is usually you have a character sheet where you've given your character stats, a backstory, equipment, armor, gear, and you are telling that story with anywhere from one other person to maybe 6 or 7 other people, and your party or your group sets out on an adventure. Before I hit go live and meet everyone, the order is me, Latia, Masood on the top row, Sharif, Brian, Eugenio on the bottom row. When we play Rivals of Waterdeep, whether it's in person or online, we stream to Twitch.
I'm excited, I am nervous, but I know once we go live, everything is gonna be like golden because I know that y'all are gonna give me really good energy and I'm gonna give y'all really good energy. And whatever I have planned is going out the window immediately because that's the kind of party we are.
Let's get ready to roll some dice.
Heck yeah. Previously on Rivals of Waterdeep.
Waterdeep.
Whoosh. Yes.
It's perfect.
We're doing what is called a homebrew with Rivals of Waterdeep. We are taking the existing worlds that have already been built over 46 years and modifying it to fit your own people, your own cultures, your own races with D&D, and doing what you want to do and having a good time with it. You are a tall bird. How are you hiding?
I'm not tall. Dahani is short. Dahani is like 4 feet tall.
I always thought she was like tall as me, the way she acts.
She has small person energy.
Okay. State of tabletop with Black people and minorities breaking in. It's still abysmal. I could probably count maybe on 2 hands the number of Black developers. So many people see, oh, you're a Black developer, so I guess I can't play your game. This must be a Black game. Instead of thinking, oh, cool, you're making a tabletop game. This is really dope. I want to play it. We've had to play elves and orcs and everything else for like 45 years of D&D, and no one has cared that we couldn't connect with that either.
Let's go around and introduce our cast.
Hey, y'all. I am your now blood hunter, Celisa Storio, with a little bit of paladin mixed in. This is Celisa Storio, my D&D character. When I created her, I wanted to show an older character because we never really see older characters. Also, very intentionally made her brown skin. And then her hair was natural, it's locks, which she keeps in a French braid to keep out of the way. It was super important for me to have representation with my D&D character. Hello. I have very few games where I can actually have my hair. This is what I get to have for my hair in games. I don't know why the apocalypse, everyone just thinks dreadlocks is just what's gonna happen, because dreadlocks take maintenance. Clearly they didn't listen to any Black folks.
Voila.
I actually started playing D&D with the first edition, the Red Book, as people say. And I had to sneak and go do that because my mom firmly believed in the satanic panic of the time. It was a lot of sneaking out with friends and rolling dice. My mom was very much do your homework first. Video games are for kids. She just really didn't see any value in it and just saw it as like a waste of time. My family upbringing and background was on the south side of Chicago. Even though we lived in a middle-class neighborhood, we were on public assistance, we were on food stamps, stuff like that. It was a lot of struggle. It was a lot of making money stretch month to month. It was the usual, like, being a kid and feeling like you're the broke one in the neighborhood. Kids are vicious. You know, you can't afford a Nintendo, you can't afford Coleco. It made me feel really crappy, but, you know, I did have some friends that had means, and they let me come and hang out. For me, game arcades were super important. I'm of the age that most games were in arcades first, well before we saw them on home systems. And the version that we got on home systems wasn't anywhere near what I could go play in arcade. But it was also just a refuge. It was someplace where I could just go chill, go enjoy stuff, go, you know, get in a driving game and roam around the country, or go play Street Fighter, go play Contra, or any of these games where I get to be the hero. I started to notice the lack of representation probably in my late teens, early 20s. Because, you know, like, I love fighting games, and that's where we'd usually see maybe a black dude, like always a big, burly boxer, or somebody that is clearly just out there to fight. We rarely saw black women in games. And if black women were in games, they got killed easily, or they were prostitutes, or they were just like a placeholder. They weren't part of the plot, they weren't the main character. I didn't see a game with a black woman on the cover until I was in my 30s. And even then, people wanted to argue and say, why do you care? Stop bringing politics into games. I was like, well, I'm black all the time. I don't know what to tell you. I was just annoyed at no change. And I just tweeted out, I need diverse games. It was the viral tweet of the day. It caught on with a lot of developers, a lot of other folks that saw that, and they're like, oh, this is really important. I too feel this way. And so they shared it, trended for a couple days on Twitter. And from that, people were like, yeah, let's keep the conversation going. From a hashtag to a community on Tumblr, a blog, a podcast, to now a nonprofit organization that gets people into conventions and conferences. We exist at intersections of our identities. The main message when I'm doing panels is that inclusion is the future of gaming. At some point, people have to realize that our money is just as green. Everybody wants to play around with race until it's time to really be about race. Everybody wants to be black and use AV and all this other stuff, or come to the table and go, it's a fantasy. It's okay if I have slaves in my game, right? We want to erase the stigma that diversity means less quality. I Need Diverse Games is all about getting people in the door and in a seat and keeping them there. How do we get there? How do we become more diverse and make it so this isn't a constant fight? I Need Diverse Games does things like send people to the Game Developer Conference. We aim to give our scholarships and our passes to people who are marginalized in some way and otherwise would never get a chance to go. Black developers make up less than 2% of the whole industry. We need to get people in the door, make them feel safe, make them feel wanted, and give them professional development. Actually treat them like they matter. So many of my colleagues, you know, when they are working in studios, they'll vent about, hey, I brought up this thing and this like really bad depiction of a woman. And I got told, oh, that's just how video games are. The folks in charge need to take it seriously, and we need to see the percentage of black women in the industry rise. The gaming industry is enriched by having people of color.
Maybe we just need to like shoot and then I'll move the shield around so that...
Oh, like just batter our way through it?
Well, no, actually that's we should try that. Oh. My husband got into the video game industry first and he was working at EA. So I kind of, in some ways, rode my husband's coattails into the industry. It's a hard environment to work in. It's hard to be a woman. It's hard to be a Black woman because you're very by yourself. I think there were maybe 5 Black women working at my location, and I was tired of not seeing myself represented behind the scenes as much as on screen. I did get in a lot of trouble at one point because I asked, hey, we have literally a staff of like 2.5 people who are specifically there to handle diversity and inclusion, and we have 9,000 employees. I'm just like, how is that really a balance? The VP was a white woman, and she gave me this long spiel about, all of the things that EA was doing. And I'm just like, I can tell you sitting here as a Black woman who works for this company that I feel none of that. I can tell you that as a player who regularly plays our video games, I feel none of that. It was basically a half hour of me being white-splained to. It was an ugly experience, and that was kind of the beginning of the end for me. I didn't get fired. I didn't get, demoted. None of that happened, but I just reached a point where I couldn't deal with it anymore. I needed to go find something else that I could do. Meanwhile, Gamergate was happening, which was an online harassment campaign specifically targeted against women in the gaming community. It was awful, especially, if you are a woman, let alone a woman of color online. People just sent the ugliest things. I still love games. They're still a wonderful part of my life. I connect with them more now that I don't feel that frustration of working in the industry. Tanya is working with different studios to try and help them create games that are for us as much as for other people.
It is time to journey into a blacker future with Into the Motherlands, an all-new game and streaming experience from the mind of Tanya DePass. Brought to you by Twitch, we have some of the best and brightest POC creators behind the scenes and in front of the cameras. It is really going to be something special. We cannot wait for you to see it. Buckle up, y'all. We are going into a much brighter, much blacker future.
Into the Motherlands was a new sci-fi venture. It's Afrofuturist. It's something no one had done before. 12 episodes, 3 hours each. This is the first time Twitch is supporting an African American RPG developer, let alone a woman.
Good evening, everybody. Thank you so much for being here. Welcome back to the season finale of Into the Motherlands. My name is Eugenio Vargas. I am DM Jazzy Hands, and I'm going to be your storyteller for this evening. Thank you so much for being here.
For me, the opportunity to make Into the Motherlands has been amazing. I never thought I would get a chance to make my own game ever. I got a chance to create a world that I wanted to see, that I wanted to play in, and to bring people that normally don't get that kind of opportunity to the table to write, to be on screen.
Our leader, our creative director, the person who made this all possible, the person whose channel we take over every Sunday night, the one who brought us aboard, the one who came up with the idea for all of this and the reason that we're here. Hi, Tanya, how you doing?
You're gonna make me cry, you bastard.
We've completed season 1, and now we're working on this setting book to go out into the world so everyone can play in the world that we've created. I hope it's well received. I hope that people enjoy playing in the sandbox that we built. This is the first thing I'm making. This is the story we got to tell, and even if we don't get another season, you all have made me beyond proud and honored. And I don't say this lightly, because those of you who know me know this. I love each and every one of you. So thank you.
Tanya has really put her drive and passion behind something that a lot of people only talk about. A lot of people say, yeah, like we need A and B, but like a Tanya is like one of those rare folks that like actually says, okay, let's make this happen.
Reflecting on Rebels War Deep, Into the Motherlands. If I could have seen even a fraction of that as a kid, it would have made such a world of difference. I would have felt like there was a place for me. I would have felt like I belonged. I just hope that what we're doing gives younger Black and brown folks that same thing that I didn't get as a kid and a teen.